Hello, race fans, and welcome to another edition of Before the Green Flag on GMSRacing.net. I'm Justin Waffen, joined by Joey Coulter and Josh Weinrich. And guys, this week the trucks are actually off while the ARCA Series is heading to Berlin Raceway. And kind of backing up to kind of go over Pocono with Grant. Grant was able to get out of what looked like a really, really bad wreck, not get touched, and able to come back second, have a great points day. So for him and the whole ARCA team, what do you see as gaining that momentum now heading into Berlin?
I mean, momentum's gonna help no matter what. I mean, that was the kind of stuff we've been seeing from them all year. When anytime they've gotten into a bad situation, they've been able to recover like that, and that's why he's leading the points. That's why he's got a huge points lead, and that's the kind of championship caliber stuff you want to see. It was a great race for him to come back from where he came from, and then heading back to a racetrack that he won at last year. It's hard to beat that kind of momentum.
Yeah, it's always a little unnerving when you go into turn one, lap one, and you're sliding around. But I mean, when things go that bad, we're pretty fortunate that it went that good.
Yeah.
I've never seen however many cars were involved in that whole deal. 4, 5, 6 guys just wrecking into each other, spinning around, hitting stuff, and then Grant to slide through there sideways and then gather it back up, not get run into, and keep it off the inside wall. That was remarkable by him. And the thing that stuck out to me wasn't the fact that he avoided that incident, but it was the fact that we talked about last week how important track position was. Is he loses all that track position after qualifying up front, goes back, I think restarted like 26th or something like that, and it's a short race like we talked about, only 50 laps, and by the time the caution comes out, you're almost down to 40 to go. And he comes back and finishes second. I mean, that was a remarkable recovery for those guys. Yeah. And, under point systems like this that we have when you count points all year and there's no reset, those are championship days. Like, not every race is going to go well. You're probably going to get caught up in a wreck or some sort of incident throughout the year. You got to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And those guys did absolutely that. I mean, they got every single point that they possibly could have out of that race. And that to me, that's one of the coolest things that's happened all year. So, and going to Berlin this weekend, this is a great opportunity again to keep padding that points lead.
And now focusing on Berlin, Joe, you've won there. So for the driver, what's it going to take for them to navigate through such a different racetrack?
It's different, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's really different.
Some people say it's a circle shape, but I mean, I don't think I can draw a circle.
I don't think there's a shape that fits Berlin.
But it's neat because it's got kind of this whether they did it on purpose or not, it's almost got this little variable, kind of progressive banking in the corners. There's no wall on the backstretch. The whole backstretch is curved, so you kind of you drive into turn 1A, make a sharp corner to get to 1B, and then it's kind of 1.5 to through 2 into 3 down the backstretch. It's really strange, but it's a lot of fun. A lot of throttle control. Like, that is the key at that place. Because these cars are really way overpowered for the type of racetrack. The surface is old, but it puts on a fantastic show. A lot of great racing. You can run the top, the bottom, the middle, wherever your car is working. So I've seen some guys drive through the dirt off of 4 and make it work all night long. So it's a fun place, real neat, real challenging, but it's Grant's style. He dominated that race last year. I was fortunate enough to spot for him there, and that's his style track. That's the kind of places he's really, really solid at.
That's what's so cool about Berlin is the fact that these cars are so overpowered for that place, because you really could see, that the driver really shows up there, because the pavement it's so abrasive. Tires mean so much. I was there a couple years ago when the ARCA race went 160 laps to start the race, green flag, and we had green flag pit stops. And the interesting thing is here these next 2 weeks at Berlin and Springfield, there's not really a pit road, which is really exciting.
Yeah, this was in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we actually made green flag stops there 4 years ago, and you come in to pit road and all the teams are lined up facing each other on either side of pit road, so there's not really any way to calculate pit road speed, and you got to hang a left at the end of pit road to get back and hit the intersection at turn 4 to turn back on to the racetrack. So it's not a traditional racetrack whatsoever. There's almost a short chute in the middle of turn 3 and 4. the cars are never going straight ever. I mean, you almost drive it like a circle. So it's this Berlin really stands out by itself as one of the most unique racetracks that the ARCA series goes to all season long.
And we were able to catch up with Grant and get his thoughts of what it's going to take for him to find victory. It's such a unique racetrack.
Yeah, Berlin's definitely its own, unique racetrack. It's very, very little grip, very little banking as well. We actually end up with all 4 of our tires off the banking on the apron of the track is the fast way around that place. So it's definitely different than it seems like most all the other short tracks on the schedule are really high speed tracks for the most part. But Berlin is really low speed and it's a circle, basically, how you drive it. So it's one of those places I do look forward to going to it. It's a fun place, but it's definitely different. We're going to unload with a very similar package to what we raced last year. So hopefully we've learned some stuff this year that's going to help us a little bit with some minor tweaks. But I think we're gonna unload with our same basic short track package, and hopefully it works.
So Grant giving his insight of what's going to take to find victory this weekend. And now after Pocono, he has his largest point lead of the year with 185 points. So for the Grant and the ARCA team, what do you guys see as do you see them changing their approach now to how they're going to these races, kind of playing more conservatively, or do you still see them going out there for the win every week?
I think it's very situational. It depends on what's going on at the time, but I definitely don't think they're going to show up with any different attitude. They're going to show up to win every week because that's what it's going to take. And I mean, the more trophies, the more better, right? So, it's one of those deals. If Pocono's a good example. They got off to a rocky start. They had some bad luck, but the car didn't get tore up, so they immediately went right back into, we got to go win this race. There was no instinct to, okay, let's just salvage it and we'll do the best we can.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
The car's not tore up, let's go win the race, and they almost got it done. So I think that's the outlook. There could be some situations where, that Pocono incident turns out to be worse, and then they do have to go into, okay, let's get the car fixed, let's get the best finish we can out of it. But all things being equal and the car running the way it's been running, there's no reason for them to change their outlook on the races. I don't think.
Yeah, and Grant said it himself. I mean, he said that was one of the best cars he's ever had at Pocono, and it was great to come back and finish second, but he felt, he was honestly a little bit disappointed, he said, because it was the best car he'd ever had at Pocono. So, when you show up with a piece that good and don't win, it's always some sort of a disappointment, so to speak. But, I look at from here to the end of the season, there's a whole lot of variety coming up. You got Berlin here this weekend, which is just in and of itself. It's not symmetrical. It's really worn out, really tight confines. Then we have 2 mile dirt races. Then we go back to the high-speed Salem. Then you got Kentucky, and then finish it out at a really fast, super smooth 1.5 miles at Kansas. So there's a lot of unpredictability, I think, especially when you go to Berlin and Salem, and then you throw in some dirt stuff, which, I mean, everyone's got varying experiences on dirt. So, it's certainly a really good position to be in, especially with a 185-point lead. So, but I mean, like Joey said, and Grant said it before. You show up with the best race car you possibly can, and if you're fast, you're not worried about points. You're going to race for trophies, and you're going to race for wins, and then the points take care of themselves.
And for to go back to the point of all the tracks we have coming up, what tracks are you guys really, out of the ones we have left for the ARCA series, which ones are you looking forward to the most?
It's hard to pick one. I mean,
how can you not say Salem?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Salem's awesome, especially for the ARCA series. It's just it's a blast of a racetrack. I mean, I remember the first time I went there, the first time I qualified. I think we qualified 3rd or 4th, and I was sitting in the car. I still had my hands on the wheel. My dad came up and said, "Are you gonna get out?" I'm like, "No, I can't." He said, "Why not?" And I took my hands off the wheel, and they were shaking. I mean, that's how awesome that place is. So I'll give you that one. I think Salem and the dirt races are always exciting just because they're so different.
Yeah, and Berlin is really cool too because, if fans out there haven't really been to some of these standalone ARCA specific racetracks, they have. Salem and Berlin, to me, have two of the best atmospheres that you can possibly ask for at races, because I mean that staff up there, they do such a great job. And those people up in northern Indiana and southern Michigan and into Illinois and Wisconsin, like those are some hardy race fans, man.
Yeah.
And they had, last time I was there was about 2-3 years ago, and I mean they had that place almost sold out. They do such a great job getting fans in, and that racetrack has a really strong local fan base that comes out and supports, whether it's a local show, a World of Outlaw show, or ARCA stuff. So when you get to go and race in front of a crowd like that, that's so passionate, that's so dedicated and loyal to that racetrack, it just makes it that much more fun. So Salem's gonna be great. Berlin's always a really cool atmosphere, and those 2 races on dirt, it's wild to see these cars on a mile dirt track for sure. So plenty of variety, and I mean, it's whoever wins this championship's really gonna earn it, especially with all these different racetracks coming up.
Well, it's shaping up to be a lot of great racing action this weekend at Berlin. And to be following all the action, be sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where we'll keep you up to date with everything going on from the first lap to the last. And also be sure to check out gmsracing.net, where we have pre-race, post-race, everything in between. So be sure to check that out. And from all of us here Before the Green Flag, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.